What if I told you that the most forgotten place on Earth might actually be the one holding the most dangerous answers about our history? For centuries, Antarctica was seen as nothing more than a frozen wasteland, useless, unreachable, just ice and emptiness. But little by little, pieces of truth started leaking out. Impossible maps, hidden pyramids, waterfalls that look like they're bleeding, and even stories of creatures that straight up shouldn't exist. Here's the wild part. While governments signed protection treaties for this frozen land, the same place became the target of secret military expeditions, sketchy accidents, and discoveries that never saw the light of day. Coincidence? Yeah, hard to buy that. The silence around Antarctica might actually be the biggest clue that something way bigger is going on under the ice. Something we're not supposed to know. And that's the kicker. The more layers get peeled back, the clearer it becomes that Antarctica isn't just some frozen chunk of land. It's Earth's greatest paradox, dead but alive, untouched but fought over, studied but hidden. The real question is, why put so much effort into hiding a secret no one's supposed to find out? Few places on Earth carry as much silence as Antarctica. It's like the planet itself locked away a secret out there, far from curious human eyes. Think about it. A landmass the size of Europe, buried under thick ice, out of reach for basically everyone. On the map, it just looks empty. But emptiness is what sparks the most dangerous questions. And in that empty space, mystery grows. For centuries, sailors called Antarctica the end of the world, just a blank spot on their maps, almost like an unwritten page of history. Imagine living in a time where everything had some kind of explanation. Except this massive frozen land nobody understood. And you know how humans are. When we don't understand something, we either fear it or obsess over it. In this case, both. Even today, with satellites, drones, and cutting-edge science, the continent stays mysterious. It's like Antarctica is saying, sure, you can look from afar, but you'll never know all my secrets. That invisible wall fuels theories, stirs imaginations, and keeps the debate alive through generations. And maybe, just maybe, the ice is only the surface of something much bigger. One of Antarctica's wildest mysteries is a map that should not exist. In 1513, Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis drew a world map that not only nailed South America's coastlines with shocking accuracy, but also showed land way down south without ice. How could that be possible when the continent wasn't officially discovered until 300 years later? Historians are still scratching their heads. Maybe his map was just a copy of something even older. But it doesn't stop there. Satellite images have shown pyramid-like shapes with 4 symmetrical sides, almost like frozen twins of Egypt's pyramids. Geologists say, nah, it's just natural formations shaped by wind and ice over millions of years. But come on, the near-perfect angles make even the skeptics raise an eyebrow. How many times in history has something impossible later turned out to be real? And the parallels are crazy. Egypt, Mexico, Peru, Bosnia. Pyramids everywhere tied to power, spirituality, mystery. So is it just coincidence that similar structures pop up in the middle of this off-limits continent? For some, it's proof of ancient universal knowledge. For others, pure chance. But the question lingers. How much is the ice still hiding from us? Believe it or not, Antarctica wasn't always a frozen wasteland. Beneath the ice, there used to be lush forests, winding rivers, even tropical zones. Scientists found fossils of trees 7 meters tall, plus pollen and leaves preserved for millions of years. Picture this: walking through giant ferns and green conifers, where today it's nothing but snow. Feels like another planet. That contrast between past and present screams one thing: Earth is constantly transforming. What feels permanent can flip completely with time. And honestly, that's a life lesson too. Just like nature cycles, our own lives have seasons. Cold, silent phases, followed by fertile, opportunity-filled ones. Knowing Earth's story is kinda like understanding our own. But here's the kicker. If Antarctica was once green and livable, could something or someone have lived there? Mainstream science shrugs it off, but popular imagination keeps that fire alive. What if under those fossilized forests lie traces of a past we've never been told about? Whenever Antarctica comes up, people can't help but wonder, could this place have been home to lost civilizations? History has had its fair share of surprises. Take Troy. For centuries, it was just a myth, until ruins proved otherwise. Who's to say Antarctica couldn't pull the same trick? Some theories even tie it to Atlantis, the legendary empire Plato wrote about. For them, the pyramids and strange formations are leftovers of an advanced society wiped out by a global disaster. The eerie similarities between Egypt, Mexico, and Peru's structures just add fuel. Maybe it's not just random architecture. Maybe it's a forgotten inheritance. And even without hard proof, the fascination stays alive. I mean, if we've got maps as old and accurate as Piri Reis, why not imagine that other civilizations explored, lived, or even thrived here before the ice locked it down? The lack of clear answers is exactly what keeps the mystery burning. And that's right where war, secrecy, and military agendas crash into the story. Back in the 1930s, as the world braced for World War II, even Antarctica made it onto the radar of superpowers like Nazi Germany. Secret expeditions were sent out to claim land and drop flags in strategic zones. Officially, it was about whale oil, but whispers said the real prize was something hidden under the ice. Fast forward to 1946, the US launched the biggest military op ever in Antarctica, Operation Highjump. Over 4,000 men, dozens of ships and planes. Official story, training and mapping. Reality, the sheer size of the mission sparked suspicion. Why throw that much money and manpower at a worthless frozen wasteland? What was really so urgent down there? Some theories say both Nazis and Americans were after secret bases, maybe even advanced tech buried in the ice. Others claim planes mysteriously vanished and encounters with unknown forces might have happened. Officially, nothing confirmed, but the sudden shutdown of the mission left behind an eerie silence, the kind that only fuels darker theories. One of Antarctica's creepiest sights is Blood Falls, a waterfall of bright red water gushing out of a glacier, like the ice itself is bleeding. Science says it's just oxidized iron, but for many it feels like a reminder that this land hides processes way beyond our grasp. Out here, nothing feels like coincidence. Then there are the subglacial lakes, like Lake Vostok, sitting 4,000 meters under the ice, cut off for millions of years. No light, no oxygen, insane pressure. And still, scientists found life forms there. tiny organisms surviving where life shouldn't exist. It's no wonder researchers compare it to distant moons like Europa or Enceladus. But the line between science and legend in Antarctica is paper thin. Sailors whisper about giant creatures like the Ningen, a 100-foot humanoid ghostly white being spotted by Japanese crews. Others bring up the Kraken, the infamous sea monster, supposedly lurking in the southern oceans. Real or myth, every story makes Antarctica feel less like a frozen desert and more like a stage where the impossible comes alive. The scariest part isn't what Antarctica is hiding, it's what it's about to reveal. As the ice melts at record speed, sea levels are rising, threatening coastal cities worldwide. The same ice that kept humans out for centuries might now spill secrets we weren't meant to see. If warming continues, parts of Antarctica might go green again, just like in its prehistoric past. Imagine moss fields, grasslands, maybe even small farms replacing today's frozen emptiness. Sounds insane, right? But coastal areas are already sprouting invasive plants, and penguins are shifting to find better climates. The future could look very different. But it comes at a brutal cost. Rising seas endanger millions, and ecosystems untouched for millennia could vanish overnight. Antarctica might be reborn as fertile land, but it'd mark the end of an era. And that raises the scariest question of all. What happens when Earth's last big secret is no longer buried in ice? So now that you've walked through every detail of this puzzle, what are you gonna do with it? Just forget it? Or start questioning the truths you've always been told? Antarctica shows us that what looks empty might actually be full of secrets, and the same goes for our own lives. If governments can hide, if maps can reveal, if even ice holds the stories of entire civilizations, maybe it's time you stop buying easy answers. What Antarcticas are hiding in your own life, waiting to be uncovered? Think about it. Maybe the next mystery isn't across the planet, but inside you. And before you bounce, let me ask you one last thing. Do you really know the truth about the world you live in? Or have you only seen its frozen surface? If this journey shook you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we've got way more secrets to uncover together. And trust me, the next one might blow your mind even more.